So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our viewers and intimate conversation today. And welcome to all of you around the globe, wherever you may be. If you feel compelled and feel the pull to actually subscribe to my YouTube channel, I'd really appreciate that. That would be amazing. So, thank you so much in advance. And today's guest on Intimate Conversation is Joanne Webb. Welcome, Joanne.
Hello, nice to see you. So lovely to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, good to see you again too. And so welcome to be here. Absolutely love having these convos and getting to know, we might have been floating around on Facebook or socials for a while and now to actually meet in person. And I know for me, this intimate conversation was set up so as we could honor pioneers who have been holding this frequency and light for the planet and humanity forever, because it feels like we've been doing this forever. And this lifetime's been a bit challenging with it because it's had more, purpose in it, I feel, this lifetime for all of us. So
Mm.
I'm just really keen to highlight you, everyone who's been doing this, and you today as one of those pioneers who have been really here for humanity and this planet. So
Thank
mwah,
you.
thank
And Mark.
you. All right. So I'm just going to read your intro for those who may not know you. Joanne Webb, self-love and sacred relationship empowerment goddess. I love that. Coach, healer, international speaker, mum of four, and author of two best-selling books, Leading with Light and A Teenage Guide to Finding Self-Confidence. Love that. And Inner Love is on her soul journey to change the world with love. Jo's superpower is embodying self-love and showing others how to do it. As a coach, she helps her clients embody who they truly are and see their infinite beauty, worth, and power to thrive, kick ass, and live confidently and fully. Integrating science, spirituality, and humanness into all her work, Jo works with courageous women and teens committed to healing, breaking down limiting beliefs, and reprogramming conditioning to allow them to live from conscious love while loving themselves and their lives. Joanne, I love that.
Mhm.
And in particular, I love all of it, but in particular, I love that you touch on the teenagers.
Mm.
You know, okay, so we'll get into that combo in a mo, but what I really love to ask straight up,
Mm.
and first off, so is to know, because it starts in our child, it starts when we birth in, or even before then, of course, as we
Mm.
know. But were you an aware, consciously aware child when you were little? Were you aware of what you were here to do and what we were all here to do in
No,
any way, shape, or form?
no, I would say the answer is no, but I was always curious. I was always searching for answers.
Yeah.
I always had that pull towards the spirituality realm, clairvoyance and rune stones and cards. I always had a pull towards that and, spirit and things. But no, I was definitely not conscious.
Wow. So how did it show up for you? Like we all have our own show, like story of and experiences on how it opened us up, how it was knocking at our at our door really for a while and then suddenly we start listening. How did that happen for you?
I think for me, it was always just the indication of injustice. I just
Yes.
always hated injustice. I couldn't understand why people couldn't be inclusive. I couldn't
Yeah.
understand why there was such a discrepancy in the world with the rich and the poor and why people couldn't eat and couldn't have water. So I think actually it dawned on me when I was about 8 years old. I remember being about 7 or 8 years old in the school assembly, sitting on the floor. You always to sit on the floor with your cross-legged. And I think somebody it was like Red Cross or, World Action came in. And they showed all these videos of, starving children in Ethiopia, and we were sent home to do a sponsored silence or a sponsored fast or a sponsored this to raise money. And I remember just being so upset. Like, I think some of the kids just in the class just seen it as going off to do something which was a little bit different. And that was fine. But I was really, really touched by it. And from that moment, all I wanted to
Yes.
do was I wanted to go and build orphanages and hospitals and schools in Africa. I had such a pull to want to go and do that stuff. So it happened for me really much on a human scale, I would say first. It was very
Yes.
human. I couldn't understand why everything was just seemed so wrong in the world when I could see
Yeah.
that it could easily be so right.
I understand that so much, and I think many will connect to that because I was the same. When I look back, and particularly over those last 4 years we've just had, 4, 5 years, I really saw how I never fitted the system.
Mm,
So I never could get it. I couldn't understand that, how there was always those who, there was such a wide scale.
mm.
It just, yeah, never fitted me. So yes, I get that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then I think I just as we get older, I think, we obviously go through different identities through our life, don't we? And we
Yeah.
try to fit in and we want to have friends and we want to be happy and all of that, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't really fit in. I didn't fit in with my family. I didn't fit in with friendship groups. And I think as you get more comfortable as you get older, as you start, it was very much my journey of learning to love myself. By learning to
Mm,
love myself, by learning to have radical self-acceptance, by learning to even look into my flaws and own them, and if I wanted to change something, know that I was capable of changing. And once I went on that trajectory, I could see that
mm,
actually then I got more confidence in saying, well, actually, I can see how we've all got a role to play in this world, and not one is more important than the other. And even I
yeah.
remember even working in a cinema, and I did all the accounts and all the admin, but there was people serving ice creams to people, and I said to them, "You serve those ice creams with a smile because you are changing somebody's day. You are
Yes.
changing somebody's day. If they come to you and you are smiley and you are helpful, doesn't matter what their attitude is, but you could just be changing somebody's life in that moment." And so it was little things like that, looking through the lens of a different perception, just seeing we are all here to do our role in the world. And
Mm,
I realized mine was all around love.
yeah. Beautiful. That's so beautiful. And it is the wake up in the sense of how much do I actually love myself, eh? In that journey. And that's like you say, the eyes wide open, you start looking deeper into your own who we are in
Mm,
that. And I had this really, like, I grew up with a bully brother, and that he's taught me a lot, get all that. But I had this other family, and they were English family, and they were very loving. Her brother and her hugged each other. He'd come up, put his arm around her, and they were very different to how my brother and I interacted.
yep,
And I so wanted that relationship she had, my friend, with her brother. I wanted that with mine.
yep,
And it was this looking from the space of observing that all right through my younger years of life, and really in my early teenage college years, that it sort of really hit. And I thought, why are we not like that?
mm,
Why don't we have that open compassion
yep,
and love for each other, and express that the way they do? Yeah, it really opened my eyes to why are we so different?
yeah.
Was big.
And I think when you do look at things with curiosity, and it's not blaming, not going, oh, well, there's this. It's not even a portion of blame. It's just curiosity. But then realizing that you are in the driver's seat of your life, and you can create anything.
Yes,
It's like I
yes,
remember going into families who had lots of children, and the house always seemed vibrant and full of life, a bit crazy, but that totally suited my personality. So it's no surprise to me that I went on and had 4 kids, because I
yes,
wanted that. I wanted to probably replicate that vibrancy and that community within a household.
yes. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is. But finding that you have choice.
Mm,
I remember that moment too, when I realized that actually I don't have to play it out like that. I've got a choice. I could actually change all this. Like, I was quite young, And then it was for me the hunt of finding the tools. Like, how do I change this? Because I was
Mm.
so tired of running
Yeah.
round and round, running this same old, same old. But yeah, it's a great thing. It's really empowering when you find that you actually have choice.
And
That
I think
it's
that's a
not
yeah,
just
it's a really good point to make to people, because I think people see choice like, oh, I can choose whether I have this job or this job. I can choose the
yeah,
car I drive. I can choose the outfits I wear. But choice is so much deeper than that. It's actually,
it
how do
is.
you want to live your life? Like, because we look at all of society and how they're trying to force us to live life and what we are programmed to do. And it's breaking down all of those walls and going, don't think that really fits right with my soul. That's just not lighting me up. And we actually have a choice from the very deepest level. And that's why I love this
Mm,
whole people becoming empowered. That's what I see people when they are
mm.
actually tuning into their own soul and finding their own truth.
Yes. Isn't it
Mm.
such a cool thing? I love it too. Those moments when the light bulb goes on, you've just said something, and next minute this light bulb goes on and it's just, I love it. I love
Mm.
it, love it, love it. And the amount of times, you know, I used to sort of get annoyed. It was like, oh my God, why isn't there more people coming? I was so passionate about teaching and helping and aiding others into their empowerment, self-empowerment. And, I used to think, oh my God, and there's only one or two at this one and one or two at that or whatever. There was usually a bit more than that, but you know what I mean? And I used
Yeah.
to get annoyed. And then it was through a couple of these ones that came in and said to me, oh my God, every time I go home from our development class or whatever it was we were running, my family are waiting for me to get back and they want to know what I've learned today. And she would sit down with them and then run it through with them and they'd all apply it.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my goodness, here's me concerned about we want many, when
Mm.
actually there's a ripple. There's a ripple
Absolutely.
going out, and it's like you just keep doing what you're doing. And oh my goodness,
I
it's
know.
such a
It's funny because
beautiful thing.
it is so beautiful. I was at a networking like event, and all my networking things are woo-woo as well. So I was at a networking thing a few months ago, and somebody said, "What do you want in the world?" And I said, "I actually want to impact at least 1 million lives." And I thought, that's not from an ego point of view. I don't need 1 million people in a stadium or whatever to talk to them. It's exactly what you just said. It's speaking to
Mm,
individuals who then raise their frequency, raise their vibration, and then have that ripple effect with every single person they encounter, whether it's the person in the supermarket or it's their intimate relationship, because you can't help it.
no, you can't. You can't help it. It just happens. And this is what I'm seeing now, Joe. Are you seeing it more in the world with around you and your world and further out too?
Oh, absolutely. Like I've got a few different roles as well. So from a practical level, I see it because, and it's nice to see it and see evidence within yourself, because then it's happening in the world. Like
Yeah.
I'm a personal trainer as well as a coach, and I still do personal training through the week in the mornings. But I realize I bring all of my essence into that role. It's like the ice cream making. It's like give the ice cream. It's like you bring all of you into any role, whether it's being a mom, being a personal trainer, being a coach,
Mm,
talking to people, in whether you're networking, whether you go to the supermarket, you see it. And I'm seeing that it come back to me as well from people. And it's so
yeah.
beautiful because, as we say, like, if, and I try and say this to my clients, if you walk into a room and it's full of darkness, you only need one light bulb. You
You
only need
do.
one light bulb to fill that room. Like, if
Yeah.
it's a room of light and you have one dark, it's not going to affect the light. It's like one little bit of dark is not going to affect a whole room of light, but vice versa. It makes such a difference. So if you can be the light in a gloomy place with gloomy
Mm,
things, and if you hold that light, if you
yes.
hold that vibration, you can't help but offer it to everybody else.
Exactly. That's so it. And, I used to think about, oh, I'm just one person and, I can't really make much of a difference. But then I see the ripples. But, there's that funny little thing that went around I saw it on socials, and it was about the mosquito and how one mosquito, how much that mosquito can get under
Little
your
bugger.
skin. I know. It's like, yeah, that's the effect. We can have
Mm.
that effect. We are that. I love it. I love it. Love it. So you work from home, Joe, like you have an online and work from home. Tell us about all that. Well, so when you're like, do you run workshops? What sort of what's the offerings? How do
So
you how do you
in,
roll?
in my coaching life, in my self-love and sacred relationships, I either work with individuals on a one-on-one level, for people who
Mhm.
want to move fast and just want, some people just, especially because I think people feel a little bit paranoid at first. Like they're coming to me for such delicate things. It's delicate to them, it's personal to them, so they often like that one-to-one approach. But do you know
Yeah.
what I actually love? I love group work. I love it when people
Okay.
open up in a group,
Yes.
because it makes you feel a lot less lonely. It's all well and good my clients sitting with me, and I share stories. That's why don't like to use the word coach, or whatever, because I do share stories. I do share parts of me as well, or tales that I know. But it's like, but when that group work happens and you sit there and you think, oh, that person's going through that. Oh, that person feels the same as me. Oh, wow. And the
So
sharing and the
powerful.
learning is so powerful. So yes, I do one-on-ones, I do group work. I have, like, I've got my evergreen course as well for the people who want the low ticket offer. And that's called the Awakened Goddess. And I've got a new one coming out soon called the Rising Goddess. And again, it's all
Mm,
about the feeling to healing, the forgiveness, the connecting with our feminine energy, to allowing that femininity to come through for men and women,
yeah.
allowing us to be led from our heart, not our mind.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to make decisions from up here.
They are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's about coming back into body, coming back into
Mm,
ourselves, reclaiming all those little parts of us that are floating out here and bringing them back in, and making friends with our flaws, making friends with our shame, making friends with our guilt, because it's that kind of baggage that weighs us down and makes us ill. And also
does.
trying to hide that stuff is exhausting, and there's no need to
That's
hide it.
no, no, we don't. And it is exhausting. Oh my God, I was so exhausted from doing all that. And then just realizing like that choice and that I don't have to do it like this. And the releasing of when I started actually doing the cellular stuff and really releasing some of the old traumas and things, the freedom that I could feel in my body, the change that occurred in my body was just it was huge. And I just wanted, I was like a, a crack addict. I wanted more.
Oh,
It was so nice to actually feel different and change that feeling state within the body.
I
Mm,
agree, because people feel heavy. There's this burden on our shoulders that we've got to be
yeah.
perfect, that we should be doing this, that we should have this, our life together, and this should be happening. Or, my relationship should look like this, or I should parent this way. There's all of this should, would, could. But
Yeah.
actually, when we release all of that, and when we forgive ourselves, forgive
Mm.
those former versions of ourselves, because it's all well and good me sitting here at 46 going, I can't believe I got into an abusive relationship when I was 35. But I was not the version I am now when I was
No.
35. And I think, we're so good at, well, lots of people forgive other people and forgive people perhaps for things that seem unforgivable, but we
Mm.
seldom do we forgive ourselves. We beat
Yeah, of course
ourselves
you
up. We treat ourselves poorly. We don't talk to ourselves nice. We're not using all those beautiful, loving words. Yet, and I had something on socials yesterday, and I love it when they put it into words that you're thinking. And it's like, as a
yes.
parent, you say to a parent, what what do you love about your child? And you just go, I just love them. You don't have to go, I love them because they do this. I love them because that. We can name things about them, of course, that make them special in their unique way. Absolutely. But we just have this unconditional love for our children.
Yeah.
Why are we not seeing ourselves in that way? Because we are a child. We are a child. We were born into this world as a child. Once we start to learn to extend that same feeling to ourselves, our
Mm.
entire life changes. And that's what I love when, and people come to me, and and I say, healing doesn't need to take long. We can heal
No.
you like that. You can heal you like that. But it has to be a conscious decision.
Mm.
And once we start stripping away this, like, yes, of course, we need to reprogram some things afterwards, and the humanness of our brain takes a wee bit longer to catch up. But it's just that commitment and consistency
Yeah,
leads to freedom.
it does. It does. And I often refer it to like an athlete, that's training for the gold medal. It's that absolute where it is a training, and it's training ourselves to always be aware of what we're up to.
Yeah.
Always checking in, what, the intention behind something as well, because we often, even a giving, even our kindness, what's the intention behind that, It's
Yeah.
like, look deeper. I love it. I've always loved it. I've loved the aha moments are huge and many, and they continue. You get to a point where it's quicker and it's a bit easier, and there's not so much to look at, but there's always something that shows up,
Oh
you
God,
know.
God. I mean, like when you wake up in the morning, there's another trigger, and you go, "Oh, for the love of Liza, where has that come from? When is this healing going to finish?" But when you realize it's forever, because things are forever happening, and we're forever
They are.
evolving. And sometimes
Yeah,
it's the strangest of little things that come up, isn't it? And you go, "Okay,
it
well,
is.
I didn't know. I was still holding on to that thought from when I was 8 years old, but I'm going to look into that now, and I'm going to not let
Mm,
that rule my life."
yeah, and it's been it's that I'm finding you're sort of going back to the beginning more and more.
That's
It's
cool.
like we're just, yeah, going right back to the beginning again. And
Mm,
it's good, it's necessary, really necessary. And so many that I know who have shifted from physically shifted from
mm,
one space to another, but gone back to the hometown or the place that they were born, and physically gone there. The family's still there, and all this massive family work that's being done from that. And they're going, why did I ever do that? Why did I come back to this? And
yeah.
it's just so necessary.
It's funny you should say that because I just went back home after I hadn't been home for 7 years, back to the UK. I'm living in New Zealand for people who are listening. Um, and I had the call and I've got to go back, got to go back. And like my mum and dad and my stepdad are all still in good health. There was no reason to there was no like absolute pull. But I was like, I
Right.
just knew I needed to put my feet on English soil. And you know
Mm,
what? I did so much healing in those 10 days. I was able to see England through a different eyes. We get this thought
yes.
about where our home roots and oh, it's this, no, it's that. That was healing in itself, and it was eye-opening. I learned so much rich history about the actual town I'm from. But also, I got that. We talk about where did it come from? Where did your story start? When did you start becoming conscious? I can't name the pinpoint, but I know as soon as I was back, I'd get up every morning, I'd put my shoes on, my trainers, and I'd go, where am I walking today? And I'd follow my intuition. I was pulled in
Mm.
different directions. I was pulled to this lighthouse. I lived there for 19 years and didn't even know there was a lighthouse. And I spent so much time just literally standing next to it, and I could feel all of the people around me. I could feel the smugglers that had been there. I could feel the boats that I'd used. I could feel the mer people. And oh,
Mm.
everything just sang to me. And there was all this, and it was more about me going, always trust your intuition, always
Yeah.
trust your intuition, and always be careful of your perception of how you see things. And it was
Mm.
just, for me, I obviously wasn't scared of it because I knew it was going to happen. But no, it was big. It was huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I went to the UK a few years back now, but for a month we traveled around, and I tell you what, I was just constantly awake most nights, just with energies, all these spirit, like the place is just full, packed
Mm.
of old,
Yeah.
old history, old, oh my God, the old past lives I've had over there. And, just the experiences and
Mm,
how they just flooded back. Took me 3 months to actually ground myself back into this land.
mm,
Every morning I would wake up, I'd still be in the UK somewhere and still going through something. It
mhm.
was massive. I could not believe how massive it was. But yeah, it's a very old, old space. It
Yeah.
has a lot of history, and a lot of us have experience from that place.
But again,
Mm,
it's listening to those things inside, like it was like, you've got to go to the UK, got to go to the UK. And I was thinking, well, it's really not the best
yeah,
time for me to go to the UK. I don't really want to go now. But it's like, go, go, go. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll listen. And it's like, when do we stop listening to ourselves? When does that come away from us? Because we're born with that feeling.
mm,
We know ourselves, our soul knows, our soul wants to run the show, but our humanness takes over.
it
Hence
does.
why I try to do the spirituality, the humanness, and the science, because it's all showing us the same thing nowadays, which is
It is.
what I love about science, that it's proven all of this stuff.
Yeah, me too. I love it. It's caught up with us now.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, like it's come in to show us the proof and to show others the proof. I know it's a pretty like when you really get it, when you really get our lives here and what we're up to and who we are in this, it's such a privilege, isn't it, to be in this form here at this time. At any time, I get that, but this time in particular, because it is that we're remembering more and we're
Mhm.
bringing more of ourselves here. And
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah, and
Mm,
I hear people go, I know my soul was desperate to come down here, but why? Oh, why?" And I go, "No, come on, guys. We signed up for this." And actually, that's one of the things that keeps me going on a regular basis when I really lean into my spirituality. What is my true belief? You know, I believe my soul was up there going, "Please let me be one of them. Please let me be one of them." And there's some souls that didn't make it. So I'm like, I came down here for a purpose. You know, we are
yeah.
all so important. And
Mm,
yes, it might seem like a difficult time on earth, but I'm pretty sure every year and every race and every nationality has felt difficult as well. You know, and you look back and certain things that have happened in history, but we know that I think this awakening is happening quicker. The Earth's energy is changing quicker than ever before.
mm,
It's squeezing us to move in this direction. And
it is.
I think I've always just got to go back to my faith, my belief, and
Mm,
go with it and just allow, you know, not get caught up in, oh, what, you know, the financial crisis, everybody's going to be losing their house within the next 10 years. I just don't even need to, I hear all of this stuff and I go, whatever. Do you know what? We're adaptable humans. We're going to be okay.
we are, absolutely. And I'm so with you on all of that. I don't honestly pay any attention. People go, and I go, don't know. I don't know. Have
Yeah.
no idea what's going on out there. Actually, I just keep an eye on what I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
and focusing on creating the best in my life that I can, and the best version of myself. And that's always been me to a point. But I did always get pulled off over here somewhere and had to have a look at something else. And then I'd get into this little rant within myself and, I'd be on that little trip for a while and then I'd be like, actually, no. And the less I did it, the better I felt, and it was like, no, I just don't need to. And that coming back to the knowing, because it's a knowing within me that that's all and it can be our own conscious awareness as well, can be our conscious perception of this and our reality. But I choose not to have that as my reality. It's not my reality. It's not
Mm-hmm.
of my consciousness any longer. And it's necessary for others, but it's not part of mine anymore. And I'm okay with that. I
Yeah.
don't need to keep going in and visiting, it's like doesn't have anything there for me anymore. It's just not. So
But isn't it
yeah,
lovely when you get to that point in your life where you're so comfortable with your thoughts, your actions, your behaviors, your beliefs, that creates that reptilian safety that we all crave, that safety and security that everybody is searching for, but lots of
yes,
people don't have. So therefore, there's no foundation for which to build their life on. But once
yeah.
you can trust in yourself, there's this unwavering safety, no matter how unsafe the world is.
Exactly that. Exactly. And that was, been on my own for 23 years. And one of the reasons was, yes, I needed to find out how I could live here without my husband, because we've always come in every lifetime and we've entangled ourselves in this thing. And it was this lifetime I knew we needed to really clear that up and evolve through
Mm,
this. So we've done that, which is beautiful. But one of the other things was that I knew, like when I was, say, dad, having my family and being a child, I could accept that, yes, dad's providing this for me, right? And us, and mum and dad. But as I got into life and older, it was like, why are you wanting this from this person when you could be doing this for yourself?
mhm,
And one of the things that I was always looking for was security. It was like, oh my God, my ex-husband was such a insecure person for me. He was so random and he lived life by his own rules. He knew how this worked. I didn't. I didn't get that quite that like he had it right there. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have that then, and he made things feel very insecure for me because my dad, you know, was that. He was
Yeah.
solid, you know. So I really took on what he'd done and what he'd done, and it was like, okay. And then I started getting what my ex-husband was trying to show me and how he was trying to teach me that doesn't matter how much you have, there's still more. You,
Mm-hmm.
you you know, and he would give everything away, and I'm like, hang on, what are you
Yeah.
doing? You know, all of that. It was, there were so many random parts to him that were just beautiful in trying to teach me what he did end up teaching me and what I became very comfortable with. And so there was this huge part of me now that was like, I don't need to involve somebody else in my life to give me that. I don't
Mm-hmm.
need to. I have this relationship I have with source and consciousness, God, whatever we might want to call it, that I know this universe provides for me, and I don't need anything other than that. And
Mm.
so everything that I needed and was insecure around was, life itself, even man, death, all these things that I've processed myself through to live on my own as a conscious, aware person that knows that there's nothing to fear. The fear is within self, and it's
Mm.
just everything. I move through. Why do you need a hug? Why do you think you need to be in a relationship with somebody? Just open yourself up to just doing all this for you. Love self dearly, and
Yeah.
there's no requirement from outside. And that's where I was heading. It was like, well, and I feel like I'm there,
Yeah.
definitely there. I can drag out a little bit, but no. It's a great thing, and I feel that we come in this. I'm so hot talking about it all.
Yeah.
Like we come in with this fear. We've had that so embedded in us over lifetimes that it's just, yeah, it's quite out there how it controls us, when it
Yeah.
does.
It's a funny thing as well, isn't it? Because I think this whole relationship with, let's say men and women, doesn't matter what sex we're talking about, but like over
Yeah,
the years, it's
absolutely.
mainly
Yeah.
been men and women, let's just say. And I think it's time to break down all of those roles and reestablish them because, as we look at the world, education system isn't working, most relationships aren't working. And the first point of call is to find that within, find that love, find that security within. And sometimes you can do that in a relationship, absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's this
Yep.
beautiful thing to do it, to find it. Or there is all of this other complications that come with any sex relationships, like the insecurities, the need and stuff. And there's different, and it's getting comfortable with having needs and being needy. But I think when we are desperate for stuff, it comes across as being very needy, and therefore
Yeah.
we're automatically disempowered, and somebody else has more power over us, and
Yeah.
that's not how the world's supposed to be. Relationships. This is. I'm not really a massive seer. I'm a feeler, but I have been given visions, and I have been shown visions of utopia, euphoria, and it is a world where we have relationships. But
Mm.
they don't have to be for forever. There's no, like I don't know about you, you're probably the same as me. I can go to the supermarket. I did it exactly the other day. I was putting a trolley away and this lady just said to me, "Oh, you don't feel the cold then?" Within 5 minutes, we'd bonded. We'd had a massive in-depth conversation about really like personal stuff. And I went on my way.
Yeah.
I have relationships, like short relationships like that, which are very
Yes,
meaningful and really touch your soul. And
I
then I've
do.
also got my intimate relationship, which I hope is a long, long time. But if it
Mm.
isn't, if he decides to not be with me anymore, I will lovingly let him go
Yes,
without any
exactly.
desperation, without any hatred, without any resentment, because we are all on this life as beautiful individuals doing the best we can and choosing our own path. And I'm
That's right.
watching the more young people I see, like obviously my teenagers, as I said, and older people, but I've got this pull of lots of 20-year-olds coming to see me, 25, 27, 28-year-olds. To me, they still seem terribly young because I feel terribly old most of the time. But they're just, when they get it at such a young age that you are you, they are them, We are not one person. We are always going to be me and you walking this path together. And
Yeah.
I want you to be you and to listen to your soul. It might not make sense to my life. It might not be what I want, because we're all controlling beings, remember.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to allow you to do you and you will allow me to do me, isn't that the most biggest celebration in the world that we can have for each other?
For sure.
I love that. And even learning to do that within friendships and within family,
Yes.
allowing people just to be whoever they are in their unique glory and
Absolutely.
encouraging them to listen to their soul. You know,
Mm.
I think as a parent, you're a parent as well. If my children come to me and say to me tomorrow, oh, I'm going to give up my work and I'm going to go and spend all of my money and do this, I'd go, okay. I'm not going to say to them, oh, I think you should be saving for a house. What do you think? Because, you need to get your foot in the house market. And
Yes.
I'm like, if that's what their soul is telling them, I'll be curious, I'll ask questions, and then I'll celebrate them because there's
That's so
always more.
that's me too. I've always done that. And that's something that in the relationship thing with my husband, I'll say husband because we never separated really, was that we taught our children how to love unconditionally.
Mm,
Whatever he was doing was okay, and whatever I was doing was okay. There wasn't any conflict between us in that way. And
mm,
we might not have lived in the same house, but we dearly loved, and they saw that, they knew that, and they felt it. And it's something that they said, in his passing recently, that, that's the one thing that you guys taught us. And
No,
I just love that. I think that's amazing. And
mm,
it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy in the beginning to sever or try to sever, to be able to work through all the stuff, but it did. And we did. But what I love too is that these teenagers, these young ones, 20s into their early teens even, they know that they are that. They know that they're sovereign, that they have that I'm this soul, you're that soul, and they get that they don't need to be governed.
mm,
They know that they are that. And what I love is that when you actually give them permission, they so just run with that. They are like, oh my God, there it is. I've got permission. I know that. Now I can actually be it. And
absolutely.
I just love that with them. I love it.
Mm,
And I love encouraging them to, yeah, just do them. And yes, they are committed into parents. They've got parents, and yes, some of them might have to listen to some of that advice, but to not be rude. Of course, we're not teaching them anything like that, but it's just a matter of, yeah, pay attention to what your soul's calling you to.
absolutely. And like,
Mm.
the teen, as you say, I think our teens are way more awakened than what I was as a teenager. And so, as I say, I was curious, but there's no way
Mm.
I, if somebody had been there to guide me, perhaps I would have been a little bit different, but of course I didn't know where to go. Whereas when
Yeah,
these teenagers are coming in, they are more awakened. They certainly don't fit into the way this 3D world looks. And they're like,
yeah,
this isn't right. And you can see them automatically pushing against it. And they're
yeah,
going, no. And I think that's why there's so many children not going to school,
yeah.
falling out of the education system, because it has to be that way, because it doesn't work anymore. It's not
No, it
working for most of them. And they're going, why are
doesn't.
we doing this? They are asking the why questions a lot of the time in their own head. And a lot of the
Mm.
time it manifests as anxiety, depression, bad behavior, whatever that means. But these young people have got a lot to teach us,
Mm.
because they are living, and that's what I try and say to their parents, they are living in this world. We are seeing it from, because we've got stuff to compare it to. We've got old,
Yeah,
we know what it used to be like. It used to be like this. They are coming into this fresh world with these fresh eyes. They have got a lot to teach us, because they are
there.
living and breathing it, whereas we've
Yeah,
got different experiences. And
yes.
that's what the thing I love about my role is, when I work with teenagers, I often work with the parents, because
Mm.
they are the CEO of their household. And so
They are.
I work with these teens, and they come to me either in anxiety, depression, self-harm, just not wanting to be here,
Yeah,
blah, blah. And it's heartbreaking. They're these beautiful souls. And then, but there is these parents with old views like, oh, you must go to school, you must get an education, you must go to university. And they've never stopped to think why they think that way. It's just a view, and they've done nothing wrong. They're coming from a place of heart and
Yes.
love. They love their children. They want the best for their children. They want them to have the best life. It all comes from a beautiful place. But when we sit down in the room, we do some mediation or some coaching together, and I say, why? They go, oh, because this is like, but is that really the truth nowadays? There's no
Mm,
safe job. There's no, half the jobs that our children are going to do, we don't even know what they are.
no.
When we were at school, we could be a nurse, we could be a lawyer, we could be an accountant, we could be a hairdresser, we could be an early childhood school teacher. There was
Mm,
there was these very particular blocks that went in a
yes.
certain place. Whereas our children are way more creative. The world's more creative. Things are evolving. And when the parents start to go, oh, and they start to question it and they start to listen to their child and what their child wants. Oh, wow. Honestly, the transformation in the entire
Yeah.
family is
Mm,
incredible. Everybody's nervous system calms down. Everybody starts communicating better. They start to listen to each other.
yeah.
It's literally as if magic happened. It's literally as if somebody's waved a magic wand and magic happened.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. Like I've watched teenagers go from coming in, with their hair kind of like this and the
Yeah.
and we all protect our organs, don't we? That's a natural thing to do. Body, we
Yeah.
protect our organs. And then within an hour, because they've been given some permission or they've been listened to, they hope, they smile, their hair looks healthier, their face looks healthier. As you say, you change on the outside and on the in. And then
Yeah.
watching that magic happen within a family is pretty beautiful.
It is. It's truly beautiful.
Mm,
I know. It's so cool. And I did question the amount of anxiety and depression that these young ones had. And how many are medicated for that now too,
mm,
so many. But for me, it was their way of not actually fitting into the world. Like you're saying, they weren't, I knew they weren't meant to either. It was like, you've just got to do it the way you've got to do it. Don't try and fit into that because you're not actually meant to. We're all trying to unplug ourselves from it, so don't go there. Just don't go there. And their anxiety kept them out of the actual being able to get to really truly be in there, get jobs and go to school. Like you say, a lot of them are not going to school. And they're seen as rebellious. I was that kid. I was asking the whys. I was in myself going, why are we doing this? Like
mm,
high school, college for me, it was just such a contradiction. The teachers telling you one thing and they were doing what they were telling us we couldn't. It's like
mm,
it's just so much hypocrisy, and it used to really rile me. I just couldn't handle it, but you had to go. So there
mm.
were many days I didn't, and many days that I was in detention after school because I had spoken up through class of something,
Yeah.
and usually it was around bullying, the teachers bullying, and I couldn't stand that. It was like, actually, I'm not just shutting my mouth. Actually, I'm going to say something. And so you get down to the principal's office. I'd be often that girl that went down there,
Well,
honestly. And
but
it
you were
was
born you were
just,
born a warrior, weren't you? You were
I
born a warrior to
was.
change the world. That's why I like the
Yeah.
term goddess warriors, because we are goddesses and we are warriors to change the world. We
Mm,
definitely. And and these kids, as you say, these kids have got different symptoms manifesting. But when the kids come to me, I never talk about the symptoms because the symptoms
I,
will go once
yeah,
the root cause is sorted out. It's same with
exactly that.
adults as well. If we've got an addiction or a maladaptive coping mechanism, that often just falls by the wayside once we tune in and listen in and heal within.
Yeah, it does.
Mm,
Definitely that. It's
yeah.
really beautiful. And I mean, not that we do it for reward because we don't. I mean, if we had of, I know I could be quite a wealthy person right now if I had it, but I didn't. And so, but it's so rewarding. It's there's such a richness in it that doesn't require material richness. It is
Mm,
just a deep richness that comes in when you watch that sort of beauty happening within families, within individuals who are like that, going to create that wave.
yeah.
And it just continually yeah, carries on out there. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I love
So,
it.
so Joe, 3 books, yeah?
Two.
2. And what, like, what brought you to the first one?
Well, the
Because it's
first
a
one,
bit of a journey, eh?
the full title is actually called Hate Myself, Hate My Life, A Teenage Guide to Finding Self-Confidence and Inner Love. That's actually the full title. And I remember our publishers, because it's co-written with a friend of mine, I remember the publishers going, do you want to change the title? And we went, no, because we want it to be hard-hitting, because they are the sentences we hear from people. We didn't just make that up. They come
Yeah,
to us and they say, I hate myself and or I hate my life.
yeah.
And I'm sorry, that is not what we are here to do. I've
Mm,
been there. I've been there. I have done that journey up until I was
yeah,
in my 30s. I hated myself. I hate my, and so I have this deep understanding for teenagers and anybody who feels that way, because I have
yeah,
felt it. I have,
yeah,
I have looked at suicide as an option. I have looked at opting out, and it's a horrible place to be. And
yeah,
so where did the book come from? Because I'm doing this one-to-one work with people, or perhaps going in and talking to classrooms, or talking to families, or doing some workshops, but it didn't feel like quite enough. And we just wanted to
mm,
put this message down, which is, it's written in 6 easy chapters. And yes, it's written for teenagers, but you know what? Parents,
yeah,
grandparents, write
I'm
phones,
sure.
write to us, and counselors are using it around the world, because it's a really, really easy tool to use with teenagers who don't want to talk. They don't want to do talking therapy. Talking often re-traumatizes us. So it's just
Yeah,
a simple thing with beautiful exercises for them to go away with, to do, how to find your identity. Who are you? How to love yourself? Some beautiful, just tiny resources to introduce into your life every day to make your life that little bit more sparkly.
beautiful.
Friendships, understanding anxiety, that it's a human emotion. It's okay to feel anxious, but we don't want to be feeling it every moment of every day. And when you are,
Mm,
then it's time to rein things back in and start coming back to yourself. And so
mm,
that's where that inspiration came from, because we wanted to help more people than what we could as an individual.
yeah,
And then the second book is a collaboration with, it's 10 light workers. We've all come to put our little bit in the world of how we see it. And so it's beautiful, because there's somebody who talks to, spirit. There's somebody else about mindfulness. There's somebody else about aging, aging, but aging is just a number. It's
yeah,
lots of different things. So my chapter is called Changing the World with Love. And again, it's love thyself, heal thyself, love thy world, but living from a conscious place. Am I in unconditional love now? Oh, a judgment's just come into my head. That's not very loving. Where did that come from? Because that's a trigger. I need to heal that. It's this whole knock-on effect of consciously living every day and
mhm,
choosing to live from love. Because when we
yeah,
live from love, we are not in fear. And fear
mhm,
grips us, and fear takes us down a rabbit hole of self-destruction, worry, and most of it's for nothing.
yeah,
Most of it is for nothing. And so actually staring your fears in the face and going, okay, well, if that's my worst fear, can I live through that? Yes, I can.
mm.
And then choosing conscious love again. And yeah, it's just, I write all the time. I'm forever blogging, writing things. I don't know who the heck reads it, but I do know some people do, because people
Yes,
come and put their hands on my arms in the supermarket. Often people don't comment on socials, but they might come
no,
and put their hand on my arm, and while I'm picking some apples in the supermarket, they go, "Thank you for that. That just really helped." And I go, "Okay, I've helped one person," and that's what we always said. If we could save one person's life, we've done a really good job.
absolutely. Oh gosh, yes. Yes, for sure. And it's interesting, eh? Like, like you say, people don't comment on socials. And the same thing for me, I'll be out there in the public, and next minute somebody's going, oh man, coming over and telling me something that they've seen, and that what I've just said or what I did there or whatever. And you just don't know who you're reaching.
No.
Like, actually, you have no, you really don't. I don't. I have no idea who
And I think
it's
no, and I think
where
you
it's
said
from.
earlier in the conversation about living intentionally, what's the intention? Why are you doing something? Like often I might just get, and when I write, it's definitely message from source. It's not me going, oh,
Yeah.
in my ego going, oh, I'm writing. It's just like it flows, it comes out. If I'm sitting there trying to write, that's my ego trying to write, and it goes,
Yeah.
Ain't happening, love. So I just
Yeah. Well,
I write when I feel the urge to write,
mm,
and I put it out with the intention of love. And again, it's that whole, it's just to help somebody. And so every day I have to say to myself, I wake up every day to help women and teens learn to love themselves and love their life. And then that automatically puts me in this place to go, that's my role. That's what I'm here to do. If I'm
yeah.
not putting something on social media, I'm not helping anybody. So it gets you over
Mhm.
that ickiness of social media as well.
Yeah. It's a great tool. It's
Mm,
a great tool. People do go on about it, but I love it and I use it to my advantage.
totally.
That's, what we're there to do with it, I think.
Yeah.
But that fear, that gripping stuff, and there's that, I know you'll know it, FEAR, false evidence appearing real, and it just is like the times I went into the fear and I was like questioning it. And the more I questioned it, the more I realized that it was such a story I was telling myself. It hadn't even happened, obviously. A lot of them hadn't even happened.
Mm,
And it was just story that I was telling myself that made me feel that way. And I'll often say to people, can you honestly say that's truth? And I said, is it not just a story that you're telling yourself? And then
mm,
they look at it and they go, yes. And I said, well, why would you want to tell yourself that story when it makes you feel so bad?
yeah.
And when I realized that, it was like, well, God, yeah, why would I? Like it
Mhm. And
was just a constant thing. And I'm like, why do we do this? What are you up to?
I
So
know.
okay, what we do
But
until
again,
we don't.
it's just our humanness. That's our brain's role, isn't it? Our brain's
Mm,
role is
it
to
is.
keep us safe. And the brain does not know the difference between reality and make believe. So if we're going
No,
to tell our story, tell ourselves a story about, well, like catastrophize a situation, we are telling it a story. It's going to believe it because it doesn't understand. But you can also tell your brain the other story of magical things, utopia,
yes.
euphoria, great outcomes. And then your brain's going to start to believe that instead of the catastrophe. And this is the whole thing of manifestation, isn't it? It's like,
It is.
what are you doing? Are you living that thought? Are you living and breathing it, that it has got a great outcome, that great things can happen, that your life can be amazing? Because if you
Mm,
embrace that feeling, as Brene Brown says, if you go out to the world to look for proof of something, you'll always find it. So if you look
yes.
for proof that the world is amazing, you will find it. If you look for proof of catastrophe and
You'll
sadness
find it.
and
Mhm,
destruction, you're going to find that as well. We've just got to program these human brains that
mm.
unfortunately we all have to carry around with us in a beautiful
Yes.
way.
Yeah, for
Mm,
sure. I love it. I love what you're doing, and I love anything that you put up on socials is always, you're saying embody love and be it and teach others how. You certainly emanate that. You
thank you.
really, really do. I love it. And you're just such a beauty. Like there's such beauty in you that shines through and does touch others. I know it touches me every time I see something from you on there. So thank you.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you. Thank you.
you. Thank you. I
Mm,
love it. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for all the work you're putting out there.
thank you.
Collaboration is beautiful and I love it.
It is so, so much, yes. And it is that time now, isn't it? Really is to really collaborate and with each other and bring each other into that space of that unified state,
Yeah.
centering. Mm. Thank you so much. Anything else that you maybe didn't share that you feel you want to or
To be honest, I
feel
feel like we could talk for absolutely hours, but I think I should probably shut up now.
and let your family rage out in the house?
I've been watching, they all just keep coming in and out. It's supposed, just get out and get to work, you layabouts.
So funny, aren't they? I love it though. That's life. And like you say, there's that hum that happens with families
Mm.
and my house is the same. It's pretty full on and yeah, and it's got a life to it. It's life,
Oh,
isn't it?
do
It's
you know what? I'm
lovely.
totally so grateful that my boys have gone to work and they want to come back here and have their lunch. So I'm like, actually, I'd be
Hey.
upset if my children didn't want to come home. So just fry your sausages quietly, would you?
Yeah. No, that's it. That's the thing. It's really been my awakening to more and more on how honored I am to have my children want to be with me here.
Mm,
It's really
absolutely.
beautiful.
Mm.
Yeah. Mwah. Much, much love to you and your family, Joanne, and
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for coming in. I've really enjoyed having this chat with you.
It's been
So,
lovely. Thank you so much. Lots of
mm,
love.
beautiful.